There we go.
Here we go. So, welcome back. Welcome back to another Friday Faith and Business Spotlight. And today I am with my good friend and partner, I should say my brainstorming partner, Vanessa Turner, who is the founder of Vanessa Turner Art,
Yes.
right? Is it?
Yes.
Would be,
Vanessa
yeah,
Turner Fine Art. You got it.
fine arts. Yes. So we're gonna just jump in, Vanessa. Thank you for your time today. So I will start by asking you if you can tell us about your entrepreneurial journey and what inspired you to start this business of yours.
Sure. So I am a pastel and charcoal artist. It's a little hard to say when did I start this journey because I can't think of when I was not an artist.
Mm,
I think I've always been one. But it is a passion I pursue part time. So I would say perhaps when did I take it seriously enough to pursue it as a business? Maybe
mm,
back in 2004, perhaps,
mm,
when I
mm,
finished my schooling overseas. But I would think, yeah, when I came back, that's when I said I want my art to be more than a hobby. Uh,
mm,
I've always wanted it to be a bigger part of me. So I
yeah.
think I've always been working steadily to make sure that it doesn't just become a pastime. You know how that can happen quickly when life gets
Mm,
busy and we get inundated with all of what can feel like life's more important responsibilities. Um,
mm-hmm.
so I've spent a lot of years trying to make sure that stays at the forefront of what I do. And I think, like in present day, perhaps I definitely try to keep it there. I do actively sell my work and market it. So it's still a big part of who I am.
It is fascinating and delightful to hear you say like something that has been a passion of yours that you can actually make a career out of, because that is sometimes a challenge for a lot of us. We There are things that we're passionate about doing and would love to do it more full time and have it support us, but
Absolutely.
it doesn't always work out that way. So then we find ourselves, taking on what we'd say might be a side gig, or maybe it's a primary gig, and
Mhm.
then the passion project is on the side. So how does that look like for you?
Yeah, it's interesting because for many years I always thought I wanted my art to be
Hmm,
my number one focus.
right.
Um, but over time, what I realized is that if that were to perhaps happen, there's another sacrifice that comes with it that
Hmm,
I actually might not want because then you become so focused in making it profitable to the point where you can survive on it, that it might lose its appeal. I'm not an artist that works heavily in commissions or trying to sell art that fits the latest trends and fads.
mm,
I really stay true to what my artistic philosophy and focus is. So sometimes internally it might sound great to say, one day, yes, I want to do this full time. Um, but part of me thinks maybe not because what I love most about it, which is the freedom to try new things, express myself, um, that part I might not get to do as much. I think that takes a bit more time
mm,
to develop. So I think that quite easily people can say, well, if I'm not doing it full time, what am I doing? But I like
mm,
to look at it the exact opposite in that I still have the freedom to do what I love most while still making sure that
mm.
it is profitable and that it is a business that I'm growing, but more so growing it in my way.
I love that you said that. That makes total sense, and I hope it helps others who are listening, because what I would hate to see happen is that we have these passions or gifts that we've been given, and all of a sudden, we're trying to make money,
Yes.
and you're driven by just the need to make money, that you stifle your creativity. That could happen.
And the crazy part is that by stifling that,
Hmm.
you might stifle your ability to make money. So
Right, right,
sometimes, staying true to yourself and what works for you actually enables you to be more profitable in a way that suits you and your lifestyle, as opposed to just, trying to do what you see everybody else doing and then wondering why does that not work for me.
right, right. So, there's a little bit of grace in that. I mean, it may work out for some people where, the thing that I'm passionate about, that I'm doing it full time, and I'm loving doing it. I'm not sacrificing it in any ways, and it's working. That happens. That's a
Yeah.
scenario, right? But for some of us, you got to get a day job, all right?
Yeah.
And it's okay. What
Absolutely.
how you
Yeah.
can actually see this though is like a creative outlet, right? Something that it's like I might be on this job. It's not the job of my passion, sort of like utilizing my skills, but I'm able to still spend time in this thing that I'm passionate about, which fuels me, nourishes my soul, so that when I show up on that day job, I show up full. I show
Right.
up
And
alive. So,
it's almost like that is what is perhaps allowing you to even pursue your passion further because
right.
you're doing it now. Well, like in my case, it's not in a way that is stressful or with a lot
Mm-hmm.
of pressure. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that you your goals are not, aren't any less or that you're not as driven. It's just that you're doing it in a way that works for the time and space that you're in.
Yes. I can just like put a pin in it right there. That is it. Well said. So a lot of us are entrepreneurs. I mean, just taking a page from what you're saying there, I think that is so important. I do want to encourage people to find some way to still do that thing that you love, right? And it may not be the primary thing, but I'm loving that you are still finding time to do that. And it makes you probably better in the other things that you do, right? Because you're feeling nourished and
Yeah, you
fulfilled
don't feel
there.
like you've
Hmm.
sacrificed yourself, right?
Hmm.
You're still doing what lights you up and you're still building on it to the point where, now you've fine tuned it in a way that you like, as opposed to saying it's all or nothing.
Right.
Because sometimes when we take that all or nothing, sometimes we end up with nothing, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it doesn't always have to look the way that people may think.
Yeah, that is so true. Good advice. Now, tell me about some of the challenges maybe you faced as like for you, you have the opportunity to still work on your passion, but you also have another full-time gig, something that you're still interested in doing as well. But what are some of the challenges of like juggling both
Ah,
of those, and how are you overcoming that? Or are you still feeling challenged?
I think the challenge is always there, but
Mm-hmm.
over the years, discipline is something that at first seemed like a challenge because we can easily say when I have time, like when I have time to do this or when I have time to do that. Um, but quite frankly, you'll never, if you look at it that way, you'll never have time.
Mm-hmm.
So what I found early on is that you have to make the time.
Mm-hmm.
So mastering your calendar, I would say perhaps is one of the things that was most beneficial. To
Mm-hmm.
a big thing also is learning when to say no to something
Mm-hmm.
because it's quite easy to say yes to things and then wonder where did all my time go? I wanted to invest my time in these things,
Mm-hmm.
but it's all used up. So I would say discipline was a huge one. Organization, and you know what my other big thing is? Not thinking, or it's more of a mindset. Not thinking that because you're doing something part time
Mm-hmm.
that you have any less experience or value to contribute. than
Mm,
someone who may be doing it full time.
mm,
So that was kind of a mindset hurdle I think I had to overcome too. Um, because once I did that, I think it affected the way I even show up for my audience, my work, my business. It wasn't so much a, well, here's this thing that I'm trying to do. It wasn't that. It became, here, this is who I am. I am an artist.
mhm.
Not I am trying to be an artist.
Oh, wow. Yes.
So
Yeah.
I think, yeah, so discipline, organization, and that mindset shift of just because I do this part time doesn't make me any less than someone who's doing it full time.
Oh, wow. Vanessa, you see, I think like a lot of the battles that we're facing, they say they won
Eternal.
and lost is in the mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you understand? Like you saying that is so profound. It is so true. You know, like you hear someone say, I am just an artist, or I am just a coach. I'm just like, you got to change that kind of thinking. I am an
Or
artist.
I'm working on being. Like, no,
Yeah.
you're doing it,
Yeah.
right?
You're doing it. And it does help as you kind of like own that space.
Yeah.
I think it does start to help, you know, and then it's a process, you know, and I am a proponent for enjoying the journey. You know, we're thinking a lot of times so far down the road, like when I become this,
Yeah.
and we're missing a lot of what is,
All
you
the
know,
in between, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
I think sometimes we see others whom
Mm-hmm.
we think have already gotten to where we want to be,
Mm,
and not fully understanding all that they went through to get there. And then
mm-hmm.
you think to yourself, would I have wanted to follow that same journey? And more than likely, maybe not.
Right, right.
Um, so it's hard sometimes to remember that this is my journey and I'm forming it the way that suits me, but at the same time, still
Mm-hmm.
learning from those who may be ahead of me, but doing
Mm.
it, doing it in your way.
So tell me, I mean, this is very good advice. Thank you for sharing that perspective on it. What advice would you give to someone who might be stepping into entrepreneurship, you know, like pursuing the things that they're passionate about? What would you tell them
I would
that you
say,
haven't already told them?
yeah, I would say that for me the and I feel like for a moment I lost touch with this myself, but it's understanding why
Mm-hmm.
are you even doing the work that you do? Like, so for me, the main goal of my work and putting my work in people's homes and spaces is really to help them live more intentionally, live a more mindful, have a more mindful approach to life, slow down. I'm a big proponent of gentle living
Mm-hmm.
and using my artwork to help people reduce stress and just return to a space that feels good, like a space that really nourishes them. Um, but sometimes you can, in business, you can almost lose touch with the why of what you're doing and get so caught up in the metrics and the numbers of your business. But I find if you lose touch with your why, you can also lose touch with your audience.
Mm.
And so if you stay connected to your why, it helps you stay connected to your audience in a way that other people can't.
All right.
Because your audience comes to you for you and what you offer. But if you start trying to do and be like everything and everyone else you see, I feel like sometimes you can lose sight of that.
Yes.
So like for me, one of the things that I stopped doing for a while is even just showing up in people's inboxes on a routine basis.
Mm.
Um, and not we're not talking about emails like to sell. These are emails just conversational. Here's what I'm working on. Here's why I'm working on it. Here's what it's about, and getting their input and making them part of the process. Um, you see that as okay. That's not really necessary. I just need to get my work out there and sell it. But that was a tool to sell,
Mm.
right? Staying connected to people is a tool to sell. So I think, yeah, I think if you are going into business, the biggest thing you can do, or the most advantageous thing to keep hold of, is staying connected to why you do something, because it allows your audience to stay connected to you and keep wanting to come back for that.
Yes. You
Mm.
know, it's a journey, seriously, as you're trying to grow a business. And you're not purpose to serve every single person. So knowing why and knowing who and what, I mean, those things are
Yeah,
essential as well, you know, because it does help to keep you a little bit more laser focused. And
yeah.
you know, like, so now your messages and so forth, those things are on point. And
And
how
it's
you
going to the people who need it.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, in closing, this has been so nice, Vanessa. I always enjoy chatting with you. You always bring so much wisdom, practically speaking. Um, but for those who might be interested in learning more about what you do, where to find you, what is the best place? I did share your website, you know, as
Okay.
well. But what do you? Is there anything more?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram as well, Vanessa Turner Artist. Um, and like you mentioned, on my website. And for those who might want a bit more in-depth knowledge about why I do the artwork, that like why I produce the work that I do, and the meaning behind a lot of my work, and how I'm using it to help people, especially in a world where mental health is one of our most difficult challenges. I'd be happy to have a conversation about it, or they can join what I call the collector circle. That's where we have a lot more discussion and a couple laughs and jokes that I love to share every other Sunday.
All right. So all of this information you can find if you visit her website, Vanessa Turner Artist.com.
So Vanessa Turner Artist for Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
and my web is vanessaturner.com. So
Oh, it's just Vanessa Turner. Sorry. It's
super
like
easy.
I know this,
Yeah.
but thank you so much, Vanessa, again for your time today. And I pray that this blesses someone. It is always like my intent, people to get to know the people who are a part of our community, but and the work that they're doing, and you're doing good work. So I hope people reach out to you and buy some art, guys.
Yeah.
Buy some pieces. All right. Thank
Buy
you again,
some
Vanessa.
art. Let's have a conversation. Happy
Yeah,
to talk business too.
there you go. There you
Yeah.
go. Thank you,
Thank
Vanessa.
you for having me.
My pleasure.
See you.